Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's third and final video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's final video. Day 10 will take us to the 18th of August. And we'll be able to extend out beyond that with it. So GFS and ECM Ensembles may run around a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at the CFS V2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks. That'll get us into early September. And I'll get on with that for you in a moment. Just say that the first video release day was our 6 AM UK weather forecast. And we've also released the extended 30-day European outlook, so check out those two vids if you'd like to do that. Like, share and subscribe on all of today's videos and content, and thank you so much everyone for doing that. Right, let's start off central in temperature. The CT is currently sitting at 15.4, which is 0.3 of a degree below the 61.990 average. That is provisional to yesterday, to the 7th of August. It looks like the first week of August will be coming out below average. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. So look at Cardiff today. The red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Cardiff, starting off around average at the moment. We are going to get a push up in the upper air temperatures in the second half of this week. Will become quite warm. It is quite brief though into the weekend and the early part of next week. We turn cooler than average. And then through the third week of August, we find the upper air temperatures lifting back up once again and becoming warmer potentially through the third week of August. You will notice there are one or two quite dramatic hot outliers. These ensemble members up here are going to really quite a high level, to around 20 degrees or more at 850 HPA. The operational 6-hour operation run also lifts up for a while as well. So we might get some more warm weather in the third week of August, possibly, potentially low risk, but potentially very hot. But I would go more towards, just warmer weather again through the third week of August rather than anything too dramatic at this stage. But we've got to keep an eye on these outliers. There are quite a few of them now starting to appear. Precipitation-wise, it's going to be quite a dry weather over the next few days. We have got some light showery bursts at the moment today, but the next 2-3 days will be relatively dry down in the south. Tell you more unsettled though through into the weekend and next week. And then as we go beyond that, yes, there are some precipitation spikes coming through there. Although quite uncertain, I think, with that. Maybe it could be some thunder being triggered by some of these hotter ensemble members and whatnot. So I think we leave the third week of August alone in terms of precipitation. Temperature anomalies from the 8th to 16th of August coming out above average for most parts of the UK and Ireland. A warmer week to come for week 2 of August. And precipitation anomalies from the 8th to 16th, wetter than average for Scotland, near normal to drier than average elsewhere. The latest Windflow Map from earth.nullschool.net shows we've got a ridge starting to appear. So we've got a deep low up over Scandinavia and more low pressure in the Atlantic. But this area just here is filling up with a ridge, although there is a bit of an upper level trough through there. That's bringing dampness to the south today, but basically a ridge of high pressure is now starting to take over the weather pattern until the end of the week. That brings us very nicely to the chart data. So this is our latest UK Met Euro. It's on midnight on Friday. By that point, the ridge is starting to weaken and slip a little bit further eastwards with this deep low out in the Atlantic edging our way. So as we go into the weekend, it starts to turn cooler and a little bit more unsettled and showery as well, especially so for more northern and west areas. But they'll probably hang on to quite a lot of dry and relatively warm weather with a 1020 millibar isobar, looking a little bit showery through the early part of next week. And then as we get to midday on Tuesday, midnight on Tuesday, I should say, 15th of August, high pressure beginning to re-establish over until the eastern coast could back start to pull up some hotter air for the third week of the month. Icon, again, with that area of low pressure displacing the ridge on Thursday night and into Friday, taking us into what looks like a relatively cool and showery weekend, especially so for more central and northern regions. Heading up towards the end of the Icon run, gets it to midday on Tuesday, the 15th of August. High pressure again, just starting to ridge back towards the far south and southwest of the country. The GFS midnight run again is weakening that ridge of high pressure on Friday with below out in the Atlantic, and that area of low pressure then pushes eastwards from the Atlantic into western parts of Europe through next weekend, bringing quite cool and showery conditions with it through into the early part of next week. Again, low pressure brings relatively cool and showery conditions with it. Heading up towards day 10, again, lots of low pressure out to the north and the west, just starting to build a bit more of a ridge into the south. And this duel between ridges and troughs continues really through the third week of August, but eventually the Azores High starts to make a move and strengthens to our south and southwest. So that is starting to bring up some appreciably warm, or maybe even quite hot air, actually, as we come to the end of the GFS midnight run. Yes, we have got the excuse me, we have got plus 20 Celsius iceberg there, making it from northern France into the far south and southwest of the country. Signs of a heat wave by the very end of the GFS midnight run. But bear in mind, that's over 2 weeks away, so it's a long way off, and it's therefore very unreliable. But GFS 6 there to go with that area of low pressure out in the Atlantic, displacing below on Friday into the weekend, looking rather cool and showery once more through into next week. Some higher pressure just beginning to build a little bit further northwards, low pressure again out in the Atlantic being blocked by that ridge. That high pressure increasingly strengthens as we move beyond day 10. This is Saturday the 19th, with high pressure again strengthening over and to the east of the country, bringing up that very warm or even locally hot southerly or southeasterly type flow. It's not long before we go into something thundery then. As we get to Tuesday 22nd of August, we have thundery low developing from the southwest. It does look hot though, again, with those upper air temperatures. Finishing up looking like that a little bit on the showery side. Definitely a few hints here of something hotter again for the third week of August, but it is a long way off. Yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please do like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. Why not drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our video. Don't forget to tell friends about GavsWeatherVids. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. We're at 16,640 subscribers, so we need to put on another 60 subscribers now to get ourselves to 16.7k. If you could give us a sub, that'd be amazing. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. GM, again, that area of low pressure coming in from off the Atlantic on Friday, displacing the ridge of high pressure through to the weekend, to cases showers and or longer spells of rain and relatively cool conditions as well. However, by the time you get through to day 10, just some signs that high pressure beginning to build over and to the east country, starting to pull up a warmer southerly or southeasterly flow then. And then we've got the ECM at WF finally displacing the ridge of high pressure on Friday, bringing showery conditions in from off the Atlantic the weekend, looking rather showery and rather cool as well. And heading on up towards days 8, 9, 10. All looks a little bit mixed, I have to say. No convincing sign of high pressure building with the ECM up to day 10. So that looks a little bit I'm so sorry once again, that looks a little bit less settled compared to the other model output by day 10. Okay, this is a precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from TemPshow.com. Here's today's showery bursts to the south, light rain and drizzle running across southern counties after that room to drier weather for the next couple of days. And then into Friday, we've got heavy showers and maybe thunderstorms in the northern half of the country pushing in from off the Atlantic. Running to showery weather over the weekend. Showers along with spells of rain, and those showery conditions continue into the early part of next week. Heading up toward day 10. Still looks a little bit mixed, I have to say. These are the options on the table within the ECM Ensemble day for day 10. Gets us to the 18th of August. These are coming from ECMWF.int today. You have not got an update for these cluster charts at the Icelandic Met Office, unfortunately, today. So 28 members of the ECM ensembles have high pressure to the north and low pressure is to the south. That should bring a reasonable amount of dry weather to northern regions. Could be a bit showery in the south. And then we've got 23 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure a little bit further northwards and eastwards, really, and more in way of a trough to our south and east. That's probably a little bit more showery, really. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This will get us to the 23rd of August. 16 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure to north and west. Probably some sort of trough close to the UK underneath that ridge. Then we've got 14, interestingly, with high pressure sitting over slight to the east coast as it cuts off low in the Atlantic. That will bring up the wind from south, and that could be hot. That could be very hot, actually. 14 going in that direction. We've got 11 with high pressure more over into the northern country. That should bring lots of dry and warm weather. And then we've got 10 with high pressure out to our west, some low pressure over Scandinavian Denmark, and winds coming in from a northwesterly direction with those 10. So that's probably the coolest option, but it should be mainly dry even with that option. High pressure is sent to the west. A lot of high pressure with those options there as we get particularly to day 15. So maybe we've got a change here to higher pressure, drier and hotter weather through the third week of the month. CFS V2, finally, is a 500 millibar height of lines breaking down to weak periods. The first week period takes from the 8th to 14th of August. This week we have low pressure in the Atlantic and into West Europe. High pressure is across southern parts of Europe. Winds coming in from a westerly direction. That looks a little bit showery, especially so up in the north. Week 2 will be the 15th to the 21st of August with high pressure again centred over and to the east of the country. Some low pressure is out in the Atlantic. That probably brings the wind up from a southerly direction. That should be quite warm. Could be a bit showery for the west. Week 3 it's going to be the 22nd to the 8th of August. Again, high pressure drifting just a little bit further northwards and northeastwards. Low pressure is out in the Atlantic. That could be starting to turn rather showery as well. And then week 4 is going to be the 29th of August, 4th of September. High pressure over Scandinavia, low pressure out in the Atlantic. That will be bringing in the wind from an easterly or a southeasterly direction. That could be quite a warm and dry start to September. Very typically, of course, for what we often expect at the beginning of September. But, of course, it's a long way off, so we shall see about that one. Okay, we're done. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. Why not drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. And don't forget to tell friends about GavsWeatherVids. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. Right, as I say, we've got to be put on 60 subscribers to get ourselves to 16.7k. So if you could give us a sub, tell friends and fancy subscribe, that'd be great. Thank you so much for doing that. Just coming up tomorrow, we're going to start off with the 6 AM UK weather forecast. We will have the latest USA forecast. We're going to have an update for some events and festivals as well, I think, tomorrow. And we'll be live streaming at 6 PM. We'll live stream our 10 to 14 dayer. So I shall see you then live for that one. But for this video and for today's videos, that's all for now. And thanks for watching.